like the guy.
Right. Of course, we're talking about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, who's going to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on in the interview. You and Ted DiBiase, you both started your first runs in WWA later in 1979. Was it just a coincidence that you both arrived in the Federation at about the same time? Or did Senior, we're talking about Vince Senior, did he want you both as a package deal? Or how did that work out?
No, after I left Charlotte, I went to wrestle in Amarillo territory. I don't know if you remember Dick Murdoch and Blackjack Mulligan had just
Sure.
won that, bought that territory from the Funk Brothers. And Ted and I, we played football together in college, and we knew each other, and they teamed us up there, and we became the tag team champions there for a little while. And Teddy wasn't happy, and I certainly wasn't happy because we kept the belts for 1 week, and they took it away from us. So Ted wasn't happy, and I wasn't happy, and Mario Savoldi helped Ted come into New York, talk to Vince McMahon Sr., and Andre the Giant came by, and they took a tape to Vince Sr. He was on his way to New York and showed Vince McMahon Sr. One of my tapes, and I got invited. Ted DiBiase started doing TV tapings, and he was going to start.
Mm-hmm.
I think he started sometime in August, if I'm not mistaken, in 1979, and because I was only in Amarillo for 2.5 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get the TV time, and Teddy said, Vince Sr. just said, just go ahead and come with Ted, and we'll start you.
So it was like a package deal then?
Right, yeah.
You guys both held singles titles in the Federation, Ted winning the North American title, and of course you win an Intercontinental title twice. Both of you also had tag team title runs. Was there ever any talks about either you carrying the main title, the main championship title of the company?
No. Towards the end, I don't know if you remember, right before they gave it to Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm.
I think at one point Vince McMahon was thinking about going into South America, and I know Spain, because I wrestled The Undertaker in Spain in 1988, I believe it's 1988? Yeah, I think in 1988 is when I wrestled him right before the Olympics.
Okay.
And him and I, we were the main event, and we sold out the arena. They had over 20,000 people there.
Mm-hmm.
We were the first to sell out that arena. Something happened between then and the following time, because then I came back as in the middle card, and Bret Hart was the main event, and they had started pushing Bret, about 6 months later pretty hard, and the attendance dropped in half. But I think that Vince had thrown the idea away of going into South America. I think he found out that it was a little bit more difficult getting money out of South America than it would be out of probably Europe and Spain and Canada.
Right.
I think it's when they extenuated the idea of me becoming a world champion.
Now, you also teamed with the Polish Hammer, Ivan Putski.
Yeah, that was my first experience as a champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you won the tag team championship. Here's something that a lot of us want to know. You and Ivan, you being of Latin heritage and Putski is Polish, while other teams were of same nationalities, for example, the Valiants and the Wild Samoans. How was it teaming with this Polish Hammer, Ivan Putski?
It was pretty good. Other than being in the ring, we had nothing in common. It's not like we hung out together. And I think the reason that Vince Sr. did that, I think he wanted to elevate me to a higher level, and with teaming me up with him, I think that that accomplished what Vince Sr. wanted to accomplish. It did. People started noticing me more, and thinking about me as a more serious contender in the WWE. The Polish Power was a special guy. It was a great experience for me. He was over big time in the WWF back then, and he was very nice to me. We had completely different styles, and I think that's what made it work.
Right.
You know, he was the power and I was the speed, and you know, people liked us.
Yeah, and winning the tag team championship certainly meant that you guys were over at that time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, throughout your career, you have had a number of bouts with other legendary and Hall of Fame wrestler, big names, even larger-than-life names. But one that really sticks out is that feud with Greg the Hammer Valentine. Starting in '83, the Hammer and yourself would feud with each other, which came to an end in '85 after WrestleMania 1, which we'll go over a little bit. But this is when you became a two-time Intercontinental Champion. I want to ask you about what the Hammer did with the IC belt in that steel cage match. Was this a legit anger of him smashing the title against the cage, or was this a work just to bring in a new belt?
No, it wasn't a work to bring in the new belt, but I think that wasn't planned at all. I mean, maybe he was pissed off, you know, but I think that really put a lot of meaning to
the feud.
The climax of me chasing him for all those. I mean, there was a long. Howard Finkel told us that that was the longest feud in the history of the WWF. I mean, we wrestled each other for probably close to 2 years. You know, and we had fantastic matches, and we were drawing some big crowds as headliners. We were the first angle to you know, sell out big places without Hulk Hogan being on the card.
Wow.
You know, after he destroyed the belt, you know, the belt was destroyed. They sent for a new belt, and I had that beat up belt in the basement, and I can't tell you how many people have offered to buy it from me, and I had it there for so many years, and then I ended up throwing it in the garbage.
Really?
And I kicked myself in the ass for not keeping it.
How was that handled backstage, Tito? I mean, was Vince Sr., what did he do to Greg for smashing the title? Was there...
No, not much. You know, it was. I don't think Vince Sr. or Vince Jr. have ever been cheap about. You know, they've never mind spending money to make money.
Right.
I can't believe you threw that title in the trash, Tito.
Oh, I'd love to have that.
I mean, talk about me. I mean, you know, I never really thought, and I don't think anybody else did either, that wrestling was going to get as big as it got, as it is.
What was your initial feeling about Junior McMahon and making wrestling into this huge, Super Bowl of wrestling events, WrestleMania?
Well, I mean, I never forget it. I believe it was like in 1984 when Vince Sr. got sick, and they had a meeting with all of us, and Vince Sr. talked to us, and he told us that Vince Jr. was going to be taking over, and I mean, Vince Sr. got done talking, and Vince Jr. took over, and brother, he took the bull by the horns right from the start.
Yeah.
He laid the plan down, and he pretty much, let everybody know that things were going to be done the way he wanted to get them done, and he became our boss.
Were there any reservations held by some of the older guys? Did he?
Yeah. I mean, he started doing some things. I remember a lot of the older guys that, would put him down and say that he didn't know what the hell he was doing, and I mean, he disallowed any of the magazines. I don't know if you remember, magazines weren't allowed, and so we weren't getting featured on any of the magazines. But none of us knew that he had plans to come up with a better magazine than was out there. So that's the reason. He didn't tell us why he was doing this. So I mean, that was just one of the things. But he had a plan. And obviously it worked.